Hey there, Aries. I'm Lou. Welcome to your weekly check-in for the week of October 25th until October the 31st. This week we are officially in Scorpio season. It started on Tuesday, okay? So we've got a month of Scorpio energy. We've got the sun there, we've got Mercury there, we've got Mars there for a little bit as well. Mars in rulership in Scorpio. So Scorpio energy is really heightened, really powerful, really strong. So whatever that means for you, whatever position that's in your chart is going to be really impactful in your life. Now, the other thing that's happening this week is we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus opposing the Scorpio energy, okay? And that eclipse is the final eclipse in the eclipse cycle that started in November 2021 between Taurus and Scorpio. So that's going to be the finale. It's going to close that chapter of your life, close that storyline down, okay? So it's going to bring closure. That, of course, that Taurus narrative through our lives will continue because we've still got Jupiter there, we've still got Uranus there, so there's more to go, but this is closing that emotional component of those eclipse cycles. So what that actually means for you personally will depend on your natal chart. What I recommend you do is watch your rising sign video first and then your sun and your moon sign to fill in the extra details. So before we get into it, I just wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm doing these readings from today, the Gumbaynggirr people, and recognize their continued connection to country and to their culture. And I wish to pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Let's do it. Hello there, Aries. Welcome to your weekly check-in. So this week we are officially in Scorpio season. Okay, and we've got Know Your Fears coming out straight away. So Scorpio represents your 8th house. That 8th house is your deep inner psychology, your inner psyche. So it definitely is the place where our fears reside. Mostly our fears that require us to be vulnerable or fears of being vulnerable. So wherever you feel like you need to be vulnerable, and this can be applied to anywhere in your life. So really on the other side of vulnerability is everything that we've ever wanted ever in our life. So it can be your intimate partnerships, it can be being vulnerable with another person. Okay, and there are people here involved. They've got the Knight of Wands, Queen of Swords, but it can be any sort of vulnerability. It can be as like getting up on stage to do a presentation so that you can move forward in your career. That's a vulnerability. It can be doing job interviews to get a new job. That's a vulnerability. Or it can be going out on your own to travel across to the other side of the world because you want to do some sort of amazing travel, and that's vulnerable because you're alone. So whatever it is, these vulnerabilities, these fears, they're going to be coming up through this Scorpio season. So we've got the sun moved in there on Tuesday. We've got Mercury there. We've got Mars, your ruling planet, is there right now as well. So that's going to be like a month really of covering these fears over the next 4 weeks. So if you're feeling uncomfortable throughout this, looking at what these fears are will help, and also looking at what the vulnerabilities underneath it will help. So taking that cognitive approach, Queen of Swords, the rational approach, looking at it from, so uplifting from the emotional drive of the fear itself, like disidentifying with the fear and the emotion and applying some cognitive awareness around it, some consciousness around it to try and figure out, okay, what is this really telling me? Because remembering that fear, whilst fear is an instinctual emotion, it is also just an emotion. So it is just a language being spoken to you. It's a way of your subconscious speaking to you, of your inner being speaking to you, of your body speaking to you when it's trying to relay information. So when you come at it from this Queen of Swords perspective, you can look at it as just information that you can decode, right, is what I'm seeing for you, like almost like a computer code. You're having to decode that information to figure out what it means to work through how you can reprogram the code and the computer to uplift you out of it. So remembering as well that fear, we never can eliminate fear. And the only way to overcome fear is to move through it, go through it, and do whatever it is that you're scared to do. So, I mean, there's different types of fear, and sometimes fear is very necessary in terms of if we actually are in physical danger or in mental, psychological danger, you know, that fear is very primal. And then there's this other type of fear that is actually just keeping us small and keeping us trapped, you know, anxiety and stuff. So really looking at your fears from that perspective this week. Now, the main thing that's happening this week is that over the weekend on Saturday night, we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus. Massive deal, this eclipse, because it's the last one in the Taurus Scorpio eclipse cycle, okay, and that's in your second house. It's going to be bringing finality to whatever that has been bringing up in your life to do with your money, your resources, your possessions, most likely your security, your sense of security, and your sense of power and control in your life. So this axis is all about empowerment. So over that weekend, you may see things take shape, or you may see things come to an end or closure around money or around your own personal power and how much control you have in your life. I do think with this Knight of Wands here that there is some excitement coming out of it. So I feel that even though this fear is here, this fear can easily be transmuted into excitement, because remember that anxiety and excitement are the same emotion on different ends of the scale, right? So we can easily transmute our anxiety by telling our brain and reprogram our brain to think of excitement, right? So for example, if you do have to do a presentation and get up in front of a lot of people in public and speak publicly, or if you have a job interview, they are scary and you can feel anxiety, or they're exciting because of the possibility on the other side of it. And so you can shift that lens, shift that focus a little bit, and shift into more of excitement, Knight of Wands energy, more anticipation, more eagerness instead of fear. So that is what is required of you throughout this week, Aries, is to look at where your fears are and transmute it into excitement and eagerness for life and for what's coming next. So there is more coming. Your life is transmuting, it's expanding, it's evolving, and this is really exciting. Okay, so that is your reading, Aries, and that is your week. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Take